Hello and welcome, AGDQ, and to our loyal Yeti fans at home to the Yeti Q&A panel. We're coming at you live from beautiful, actually sunny today, Pittsburgh. The four of us are here from the Yeti table. You've got me, the marketing manager from the Yeti, JC, John Charles, whatever's easy to remember. I'd like to say I'm your host, but we're all here as like equal-weighted friends today. Friends and coworkers, compatriots, all that stuff. Who's to my right today?
Oh, that's me. Hello, I didn't see you there. I'm Kay Duffels, or Catherine, whatever you prefer.
And what do you do at the Yeti?
Oh, right, I'm a staff artist. I draw things, like this year's event tee for AGDQ 2025. Let's go!
And, oh, yes, please applaud her. Yes, shower her with praise. And who's to my left?
My name is Orion, and I am the digital printing specialist at the Yeti. So I handle stickers, posters, and the cute little acrylic standees.
I'm Jacob. I used to be the content writer and multimedia designer, but I recently shifted over to the store manager for our local record store, Super Jumbo.
Yes. And you might even recognize the two of us from the other night. We were on there talking about records, so if you ever want to talk more shop about vinyl, come by the table. We will talk your ears off about whatever we're listening to. But that's not what we're here to do today. In fact, we're here for something equally as fun. Not only are we going to open up the floor to you folks out here who came to show up, just any questions you have for the audience, for us at the Yeti about the Yeti, t-shirts, our favorite pizza toppings, anything like that. We're here to hear your questions, and we've got answers for you. But before we get to that, we actually want to do something a little fun today and kind of go over a little bit about how we actually designed this year's AGDQ 2025 tee as a team. It was a huge team effort. There was a lot of like harsh deliberation. There was some back and forth. There was approvals, rejections, the whole 9 yards. But if you've been here, you've already seen the awesome tee. It's such a cool tee, and you're going to find out just how it came to be. Well, Catherine has put together a lovely slideshow for us today, so are we ready to go ahead and get things started?
Yeah, I think so. All right, let's kick it off. What is this? JC already kind of just talked through about all of that, so I'm going to skip this slide. I am, I guess, going to talk about designing the event collection, primarily the tee. You'll notice that a lot of the different items that we offer at this year's AGDQ and some of the other events feature things like a water bottle, a pin, a pennant. All of those things and the tee are interconnected. Ooh. So I'm going to explain a little bit about how we go about designing the tee first, and then how that extends to some of the rest of the line that goes with the collection for every event. So let's get right to it.
And don't forget too, if you still haven't been by the booth, you can still order this stuff from our table at the GDQ itself. It's here all week long. I think this might be going up after the event ends, but don't forget during any GDQ event, you can always go to theyetee.com where you can always pick up the items that go with the event, and a portion of the purchase price of every item always goes to charity, in this case, the Prevent Cancer Foundation.
Yeah. Okay, so there's a lot of text on this screen. Don't be intimidated. The TLDR of all of this is just to give you a sense of how long does it actually take us to do all of this, because it's a little bit tricky, right? How far in advance can you start designing the event tee, especially when we don't know things like what are the different events, like what are like some of the star runs going to be. We know at a minimum that we're going to be designing an event-specific tee and like a certain amount of like merch items in the lineup. So we start as far out as 4 months. So we're actually not so far off from starting up on SGDQ while we're here at AGDQ.
Yeah, we're like literally already kind of talking about like what will the themes be, and like, I mean, Catherine's gonna go to everything that we're like, we need to get started, but we're already talking about like even just what products we want, or even like things that we might even want to reprint. Like all that stuff is starting this far out already. We're so busy on it year round, like literally year round.
Yeah, we already have a few theme ideas that we've already kicked around just from leftover from brain sessions from previous events. So we just kind of all come together and think of a bunch of ideas of like what would be fun to do, what haven't we done, what could we do, and there might be a few things that we've already discussed.
Scheming, plotting, planning, all of my favorite activities. So to sum all this up, basically we start 4 months out or so from the event to start picking a theme and to start organizing what we're going to do for the event. By 3 months out, we've finalized what our event tee is going to look like. It is completely done. That's because pretty soon we're going to have tee pre-orders live, which, by the way, we offer pre-orders before every event. This surprises many people, so I'm taking every chance to make sure everyone knows. We do pre-orders.
Yes, make sure you keep an eye on us on socials or follow us on email, or just keep an eye on GDQ because the pre-orders usually open about, I don't know, like 3 months before the event, and we do bring a few extras to the event, but this year's is really cool. Like, we're gonna go over like just how cool this year's on-site event was, but it's always worth it to pre-order that one.
Most definitely. And then to just put a finer point on that, part of the reason that we also do it so far in advance is because the Yetee does a lot of our screen printing in-house. There's actual real human Yetis screen printing all of the tees by hand in beautiful Aurora, Illinois. So it takes time.
Yeah, and these human Yetis are also making these tees alongside the regular daily tees we're doing every single gosh dang day. So like, seriously, it is a busy hive up there, a busy hive of human Yetis.
Everything after that is other things that we can do in-house, like through people like Orion, who, as he said, handles a lot of our stickers, all of our standees, all that kind of good stuff, and then everything that we need for whatever kind of outsourced materials. So things like water bottles. We can't make a water bottle print very easily, so we'll have to go through someone else. All right, so step one, picking a theme. Jacob, you kind of talked about this a little bit, but basically all of the Yetis come together in a grand Yeti council, and we just start talking about what would be cool. I think that's one of my favorite things about Yeti is that I know we're like a business, we're corporate, but we have a lot of fun, and we're a really, really small company. So everyone gets to have a voice. Everyone gets to just talk about what they think is cool, what they think is fun, what they can bring to the table. And we all get to just talk about what would work. So for this year, we did kind of a public transit. I think we threw around the words like mini metro. We wanted it to pay homage to Pittsburgh. And for summer, we really wanted to do like a summer camp.
That was really fun, yeah.
Yeah, that's because we were out in like Minneapolis for GDQ 2024, and someone like I think Mike came up with the idea that like, hey, it's in Minneapolis. This is the heart of the Midwest. You got trees everywhere, total summer camp vibes. It fell right on 4th of July that weekend, so like it felt like gamer summer camp. Like GDQ feels like gamer summer camp sometimes. So it just naturally came together. But I think that was actually the first time we actually did a theme that was informed by the specific location that the event was happening at. So that's kind of what got us thinking about like, okay, so if summer camp equals Minneapolis, what does Pittsburgh equal? And like, you know, it's a city of steel. You're riding your buses, you're riding your trains, you're going through these tunnels. It's that New England like subway vibes. It just kind of we naturally arrived in it as we're just like tossing out ideas back and forth.
Yeah, it's really nice once we come together with like a finite idea of what we want to do for the event, because then it really sort of shapes the collection as we move forward. And it also makes up opportunities to think of like really unique opportunities for specific merch items that maybe we haven't done in the past, or sort of guide some of the design elements that we use moving forward.
So now that we've settled on a theme, we have to actually like draw, which is the fun part and the hard part. We do this through like a number of phases. I like to start with the mood board because it's fun, but also because it helps clarify what are some of the iconic things that I can incorporate into the design. If I'm doing something with like the mascot Velocity, what can I kind of pull from out of the public consciousness to be like, okay, how does Velocity look within this narrative? From mood board, I'll go to concepts. I usually draw my concepts about 1 to 2 inches tall, as small as possible, just so I can see how well it reads at a distance.
We here in the business call that a thumbnail.
It's so true. Yes, I do thumbnails. And the reason I do that is because for t-shirts, it's very different from a lot of other kind of illustrative or graphic design work, in that it needs to be incredibly readable because it's on people's human bodies, which means it's getting all wonkus all over the place. There's creases, there's folds, there's people just kind of moving, so you have to be able to read it, at least the important stuff like the event name, immediately, within a second.
Yeah, I think what I always tell our artists in the community is to remember what I call the shopping mall rule, where it's like, think about wearing your shirt to a shopping mall and someone else sees it. The only time they're going to see that is like the 3 seconds it takes for you guys to like cross paths. Can the narrative and the text of your tee be read and understand in the time it takes you to walk by that person in the mall? If you can, congratulations. You've got a strong shirt design right there.
After we've kind of settled on what a good concept would be, I would share all of these thumbnails kind of in our company Slack. Everyone would get a chance to look at it. We'll come to a consensus on which one is the most iconic, which one looks good. Sometimes I'll need to merge different concepts together. We'll figure out like, oh, well, maybe we like the way that this element looks in here. Can we just kind of slot that in somehow? I'll move on to the sketch phase. This is a clean looking sketch. This is probably the cleanest sketch I've ever done in my life, so don't be fooled. It usually looks way worse than that. But from here, we'll move on to just straight up iteration. I'm so excited. I got to make a gift for the first time. You can see just from concept to completion, this is how the shirt came together. These are all of the phases that we ran through in the company. It's wild.
Aw, baby's first gift.
Baby's first gift. As I have it like in the bullet point here, this process takes around a week. I think at most it's taken me maybe like 2 weeks. You might think, whoa, that's like kind of fast for like kind of an important design. It actually is not fast at all. I'm just doing a lot of iterations and it has my full attention during the time that I'm working on it. So this is, in this case, 7 iterations, which again is kind of on the small side actually for a GDQ or for a large event like this. It's not unlikely to go through, I don't know, 10, 12, even more sometimes, just versions of an event thing, because it's really, really important that everyone's happy with it. This is representative not just of, us, Yetee, but all of y'all, which, we want y'all to be happy. After the design is approved, you might think, okay, cool, we're done, did it. Now we can move on to the other stuff? No.
That's where you
wrong.
would be wrong, buddy.
I'm so happy that I'm here with you. Can I just say that? We have to do everything else. So designing a palette. You might have seen different colorways of the event tee kind of scampering about the convention this year. That's because we have multiple different colorways for different job titles or for different roles within AGDQ and the rest of the event. So we have a staff shirt, we have runners, we have the Yetee's own, we have
The volunteers.
Volunteers,
Very
yeah.
important.
And
Thank
here's a
you
little
for
fun fact
everything
for you.
that you do.
Oh, sorry. And a little fun fact for you too. I do believe this year is the first year that, at least for the Yetee, we've made a red variant of any other shirts for an event. So you might have noticed that I believe the staff tee is the red one. That's the first time we've ever done a design like that, if I'm correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's kind of tricky too. You might think okay, so what? We just kind of do some different colors, bearing in mind that because this is screen printed, all of the things that are one color in one version can only kind of be that same color in an alternate color version. I can't say, well, this looks kind of weird on dark, so maybe we'll make this a light color on this one. Everything that's one color on one blank, one t-shirt color, must be consistently within the same kind of color parameters on a different blank color. All of this to say, things need to be completely readable in any combination on both dark backgrounds and light backgrounds, which is much, much harder than it sounds.
And then on top of that too, there's also the question of just aesthetics as well, where it's it's not just enough to pick the colors, but they have to look good together, and they have to be shirts that we're excited about and shirts that we think you guys will be excited about. I feel we kind of took a little bit of a gamble on having the on-site pre-order tee be yellow, just because I love a yellow tee, but not everybody loves the yellow tee. If you ever look in the comments on our social media when we put up a yellow tee, you'll always see, oh man, I wish this was on black. But honestly, the response to the yellow tee this year has been I've been blown away by it. People really like it, and it came out incredible. So I'm really happy to see that people are actually really jazzed to get a yellow tee for once. Not for once. We have good yellow tees. We have good yellow tees.
I think it also helps that it sort of mirrors the Pittsburgh yellow-black vibe, so everyone's just sort of eating it up.
Oh yeah, that was a big inspiration there, and people have definitely caught on to our sly little wink there. So yeah, it's a good tee. Get done good.
The only other thing I kind of want to touch on is the concept of assets, quote unquote. This is a very unfun term, but the idea I'm trying to capture is if you look at the design, you can kind of pick it apart into little individual images, right? You have the logo, you have the big 25, you have the big velocity, there's a controller in a bubble and these various little tiny bits and bobs that I've sort of kind of moved over there. You can see the ones that I've pulled for AGDQ as well as the ones for SGDQ. Having a design that incorporates recognizable individual assets is important because I need to be able to remix these very, very quickly. We're already at month 2 of 4 of creating things for the event collection. So I have 2 months, probably a little less because we have to actually order things to get everything printed for pennants, for the water bottle, for the pin, for the sticker sheet. And in order to move as quickly as possible, that means having recognizable assets that I can quickly resize, scooch around, and just sort of mix and match in a way that still looks really good no matter where you put it. But I don't have to kind of build from the ground up for every individual item, especially for something like the poster, which was that was a real bear. There's a lot of stuff going on, so as much as I could reuse, I definitely did. Okay, so that's done. So now we're we can kick back, right?
That's really wrong again, buddy.
That's right. So you'll notice for things like the finale patch, we really like to incorporate something from the finale game. I can't remix anything from the event tee for that. Likewise for the pile-up tee, which is the one where we have, homages to a lot of the things that you'll see in the marathon, usually featuring the Yetee and some of the mascots. we don't know what that is really much earlier than you guys do.
Yeah, we basically see the schedule when you guys do. So like that's something that we're kind of waiting for, and that's a big benefit of getting started a little bit earlier because not only are we trying to get ahead of like the event, the production schedules. At a certain point, we have to start sending things back and forth between the Yetee and GDQ, and it's like we're busy and GDQ's busy too. So like sometimes we might send stuff and we get a feedback back in like 5 minutes. Sometimes we get it at the end of the workday. We don't know how long it'll take, and then like all the while we're also kind of like tapping our watches, saying like, all right, what's the finale game going to be? What's the next? What do we want to make teas for? We don't know until we see the list, and I assume we'll kind of go into that maybe a little bit later on. But there's a lot of waiting, and there's a lot of just trying to make good use of our time while we're waiting at different stages of the production.
Yeah, and then sometimes we get hit with a curveball when the second submissions hit, and we're like, oh, we have to do that.
Oh yeah.
So basically, there's a lot of stuff. So that's kind of how it goes from start to finish. I hope that was a little bit informative. I hope that was fun for you guys to sort of get a sneak peek behind the curtain into how do we approach all of this as the Yetee, as a group, and me as an artist as well. I'm really excited to answer any questions that y'all might have, and so I'm going to turn it back over to JC to moderate our Q&A.
Yeah, I think we have like a little microphone set up here. If anybody has any questions, you can come on up and ask us a question. Ask us a question about the T-shirt. Again, about literally anything, even if it's about just like how we make T-shirts, why we decided like, I don't know, to sell tank tops this summer. I don't know if I have an answer for that. Maybe don't ask that one, but literally there are no wrong questions. We're just kind of here to hang out, and we want to hear from y'all. Yeah, do it.
Bring it up.
Yeah, go for it.
I'll allow it.
Rapid fire, let's go.
I didn't want to like jump in if someone else. Hey.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi there.
So one question I have, and I don't know if this was intentional or not. I guess the question is, was it intentional? Is you guys talked about this year's shirt, the black and yellow, being obviously local. And I'm wondering, like I said, if this was intentional because in our kind of community right now, and I may be wrong about this, but I feel like the vibe is like retro wave seems to be really popular. But with the golden blacks and the straight line work, it screams like 70s kind of deco. Was that like on purpose? Because like it feels that way. And it's kind of cool because like it's like a really overlooked like period of time. And like I said, I don't know if it just happened to like line up that way, but like especially the pin, when I was looking at it, I was like, this is like 70s Art Deco, like for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't know if that was like intentional or not. I guess that's kind of my
I
question.
mean, I definitely have to feedback on that, but I think you might be better to speak to that since it is your design.
I guess like semi-intentional, let's say. I mean, I love deco. I think it just looks really cool.
Yeah.
But maybe the better answer is, at the end of the day, I'm just kind of a human walking around. I get inspired by a lot of the same things that everyone gets inspired by. So to your point of saying like, hey, like this is kind of having a moment right now. I'm on Blue Sky. I'm like doom scrolling all the time. I'm just sort of passively experiencing and sometimes actively experiencing a lot of the same trends that you are.
Yeah.
And I might say, that looks really cool. I have like a whole folder on my computer of moments where I've just said, that looks cool, saving this for later. So whether intentional or not, probably, yeah.
Maybe like subconsciously.
Yeah.
And then,
Nice.
like, even among the Yetee's own ranks, we do have a lot of fans of just like synthwave and vaporwave. And
Yeah.
Duffels is not the only artist who we've had design tees for the events. We have a couple other staff artists and whatnot who design tees. And one of our guys, Mark, he loves the vaporwave scene. And I think like 2 years ago, the theme of Summer Games Done Quick was really leaning into, at least for our merch, was really leaning into that like vaporwave stuff. But like, like when we decided to kind of like draw from like the inspiration of like the metro and the city of Pittsburgh itself, like, I mean, you're talking about a city whose very design is like just dripping with that sort of Art Deco 70s stuff. So it's like,
Yeah.
it's like we're all drinking from the same well on that one, right? Like you can't start thinking about a subway without thinking about those same inspirations and kind of solving some of those same problems. Because like if you saw synthwave, maybe you might not necessarily think of like a Pittsburgh subway, but when we start working with like the sharp corners, the straight lines, the contrast between thin and thick and stuff, like that's when it starts coming together and it really feels like what it's supposed to feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah, retro stuff's very ingrained in Yetee culture for sure. And to kind of bounce off what JC was saying with Mark and his project with Vaporwave with R23X and his clothing brand Video 20XX, like he's sort of like the progenitor of Vaporwave and video game adjacent sort of stuff like that. So a lot of that kind of bleeds through to the whole Yetee pot, so to speak, and we all kind of feed off of that energy from each other.
Nice. My other question, I guess, It's more of a marketing question because I'm just interested.
Oh yeah, of course.
But like, so I feel extremely fortunate because last year you guys made the Spoonie Bard shirt and that really dope Majora's Mask shirt, and then this year the Mega Man Legends shirts came out, and I bought all of them. And I was
Thank
like,
you.
so I felt like mega fortunate because I was like, these are like some of my favorite games of all time. But then it kind of got me thinking, especially like I kind of accidentally stumbled upon the panel, and I was like, you know, because you guys make shirts for obviously the games that are being run, and like, how do you find the balance of I want to make this shirt for this game, but also like marketability because you have to sell it too, right? So like, where do you strike the chord of like? Because if it was me, every shirt would be Mega
Yeah.
Man Legends, right? And then no one would buy, buy them.
Oh, that's actually a very interesting question. That's a very good question. So that is definitely something that does come up in the conversation once the list comes out, because like what happens is someone on the team gets the list, like either like our marketing supervisor does, or Devils just gets it because she keeps a pulse on speedrunning like there's no tomorrow. And then we all just kind of comb through it. And we have a meeting, and we literally just are tossing out like, well, obviously we have to do this, this, this. Like for example, usually you can count on the opening and the closing game to have teas. So like if you look at our collection, that tracks. Like we have a tee for the closing game and we have a tee for the opening game, right? That seems easy, okay? And then like we kind of start looking around, and then there might be stuff that we personally get excited about, and we kind of have to be able to like look past ourselves to say like, for example, last summer I think what's that game? What is that Dreamcast game with the crazy house? And I love it, and it's really niche, and it's got like the weird demon Sonic. What am I thinking of?
Oh, Illbleed.
Illbleed.
Yep.
Sorry, I should have clapped to the mic. Yes, Illbleed. Yes, Illbleed was on the list, and I immediately was in the chat going Illbleed, Illbleed, Illbleed. But the thing about Illbleed is, no matter how much that may or may not pop off, it's maybe a little too niche to not really like sell quite as much. So like we kind of find a good balance between like the teas that like we want to do and the teas that we know that like y'all will be excited about, right? So that probably makes up for about, let's say like 60% of it. Something cool we've also had a great opportunity to be able to do in the past recent years too is that there's so many awesome indie games being run at Games Done Quick, right? Like a big example, for example, is Celeste. And Celeste is a partner that we do already work with, but it also means that we can collaborate specifically with Celeste for their involvement to make a tea that not only has their blessings, but their full like licensing behind it as well too. Like we can actually make like an official Celeste tea. So like you may notice that we've started having some more teas for indie games specifically that we work with developers on. Like for example, this year that would mean like the Rainfall. What was the Rain?
Rain World.
Rain
Yeah,
World,
Rain
thank you.
World.
The Rain World tea and the Crow Country tea are actually ones that we worked directly with the developers on to get made and bring to y'all, and like we're really excited to do stuff like that. So like I'd say that probably makes up for another like 20 to 30%, and then you maybe have like 10 to 5%, which I would kind of call like the curveballs, the oddballs, right? These are the ones that we might kind of decide on last and kind of come in at the last minute. The perfect example of this is 2 years ago, no, last year at GDQ, we get the list of games, right? And you guys see the list when it comes out. When you see a list of games, you're just seeing like Mario, Zelda, Metal Gear Solid, Zelda, this. It's like, okay, whatever. And Gyromite was on there. It's just kind of like, Gyromite? We don't need to make a tea for Gyromite. Who wants a Gyromite tea, right? Who cares about Gyromite? I mean, I care about Gyromite. Gyromite's pretty cool. And so, you know, I'm the social media, I'm the marketing manager, so I'm the guy who's managing a lot of social media. And I'm just keeping an eye on our feed. And that's when I started seeing this buzz about something about a speedrunning dog. And I'm like, wait, what do you mean a speedrunning dog? What does that mean? And so like I keep seeing these articles on like IGN and Kotaku, and I'm like, a speedrunning, what? And in the comments on every post, everybody's like, oh, Yetee's got to do this. Yetee's got to do this. Yetee's got to do this. And I immediately go back to our company Slack and I say, guys, there's a speedrunning dog. I think we need to do something for this. So like every once in a while, something just comes through at the last second that's like so strange and so bizarre, and we're just immediately struck with like the perfect idea that we just leap on it right away, and we gotta make it happen, even if it comes in at the last minute. And so like that's how we got 2 peanut butter teas last year, because we had one for Awesome Games Done Quick. Well, the first one came in last minute because we found out about it, but the benefit was when peanut butter came back for Summer Games Done Quick, we went directly to them and said, hey, we know you're coming up this time. We just got the schedule. Can we make a tea? And can we like start from the start this time so we can make it as cool as we possibly can? So like that sort of stuff kind of comes together too. So like, I mean, that's the long answer, but the short answer is like basically like we pick out the stuff that's like exciting to us and the stuff that we know is exciting to you guys, and like a little bit of just like magic in between. But really, really cool teas come out of that as a result. And like, seriously, like the past couple of events have had some of the coolest teas I have ever seen at a GDQ, and I'm so happy they're like ones we got to like metasize and actually get like make a reality.
Yeah, that's to kind of jump off of that a little bit too is the the lightning in a bottle effect that GDQ brings along with it, where it's just all of these people coming together for like a special cause, and there's just some magic in that. And I think that we've really hit a groove in terms of the people we've been working with, and those kind of special moments with peanut butter where we just sort of capture that in tea form and get to share that with everyone. It's amazing.
Nice.
Cool. Hey, before you sit back down, come over here. I got a little something for you. A little gift from the prize wizard. Enjoy. Does anybody else have any other questions for us?
I was watching the like schedule come up like for Crazy Taxi. I was like, oh my god, that's so cool. And I also saw you discuss like social online, social media. Like it would be neat to make a T-shirt about this. Was it something like this, marketability, or something that just never came out to be?
Wait.
Yeah, when it comes to making certain designs, it comes down to sort of if it's possible or not. I think with Crazy Taxi that gets a little complicated with some stuff.
Yeah, there's just a couple of like, unfortunately, like again, it's a really delicate balance of like what gets us excited, what makes other people excited, and just like the things that just line up in between. And it's like Crazy Taxi was definitely something that like we caught our eye, but there was just a discussion that went along with it, and there were just some factors that kind of made it a little kind of harder to just kind of plan around, particularly knowing like what sort of details we have about like the run itself and what might be feasible with the game. Again, like it's a delicate balance, and we can't have too many of like the kind of like left fielders, and so it's, I don't know, sometimes the stars line up and sometimes they don't, but who knows, maybe something like that might be possible if that band comes back.
Okay.
You never know.
Yep, thank
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, I think you had a question.
There are so many chords. Okay. It's a silly thing, but I was wondering, at least the last few events, you've had like runner, attendee on the arm. This time it's on the back. And what made you, I guess, do it on the arm in the first place, switch to the back? Are you kind of planning to keep it that way?
I think Orion can speak to this with some of the time that he's done in the print shop for that.
Yeah. So part of it is when we're making the shirts and we're under a time crunch, we have to get things out as quickly as possible so that way we can bring things here to you guys. So every time there is a new print location, that is that much more time that goes into printing something. And so I think this year, with the way the holidays were lined up and then also GDQ happening right away, was part of the reason why we put it on the back. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just easier to print on the back in such a short time than on the sleeve, for sure. Any other questions?
If anyone wants to ask us about the pizza, especially, no one ever asks.
Oh yeah, we have hot pizza opinions. We will go on about pizza if you want us to.
But no pressure, no pressure.
Hello there, what's up?
Hi. So I work with preschoolers for a living, and I just want to say they love your shirts. I
Oh,
have never
thank you.
had preschoolers want to read letters. They're just learning their letters at AGDQ. They love reading it.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I wanted to ask you about, as I do a little bit of art myself, but since you guys are constantly tackling like sort of the same theme, like AGDQ and video games, do you like come across any unique art block where you're like, oh, we kind of have done something similar to that before, and how do you get around making it fresh when you're kind of sometimes working with the same things?
Actually, we do kind of have something internally for that, right? So one of the cool things about the Yetee, the coolest thing about the Yetee is that anyone can submit a tee. Like literally any of y'all in the audience right now could go to theyetee.com and submit a tee to us. And so like even folks like both me and Duffels, we came from that community. Like we submitted tees, we kept submitting tees, we got in the community, and eventually we just started working here, right? And one of the cool things that we do for our community is that, like, you know, everybody's always submitting teas. Sometimes everybody's kind of like feeling the same thing. Like maybe if like a game is really popular or like a certain style is really popular, we'll see a lot of the same thing. But sometimes we kind of want to like stir the pot a little bit and get people to start thinking outside the block. And we actually will host these design rallies for our artist community. So like you might actually have noticed this before from some certain Yetee collections. Like a good example is Sweater Fest and Sweaty Fest, which we hold in the winter and the summer respectively. Like Sweater Fest is like winter/holiday themed, and Sweaty Fest we debut our tank tops and we ask people for kind of a bit more summery designs, right? And sometimes we get a little bit more like specific than that when we start getting like real gremlin-brained ideas. Like we did Shred Fest, which was like a heavy metal tea fest we did last year. We asked people to kind of like step outside their box and kind of make like teas inspired by like heavy metal teas and do their best heavy metal tea lettering and stuff, which I hope doesn't give your students too much trouble as far as reading goes. Or like this year we did a Bad Shirt Fest, which was kind of like our homage to just kind of like those like, how did you put it really best? Do you remember what it was, how you described bad teas?
It was like scrunkled up, busted, but like you love them. It's the tees that you look at and you say, that can't be on a shirt.
And I have seen at least one of those tees here at this event, which just warmed my heart. So like, we're just always coming up with different like rallies between just like topic or even like medium, glow in the dark, single color. What else do we do as far as stuff? I don't know. We have a bunch of things like that, and it just really gets our community to kind of just like start thinking outside the box. And sometimes someone even comes with a design out of that for the first time, and they realize like, oh crud, I like making heavy metal tees. I'm just gonna start submitting more all the time, and then like it just shakes up the whole daily shirt routine. So like it's a really cool thing to just see in general.
That's awesome. Yeah, having a bunch of people work together like that. And thanks for making a Pikmin shirt. I'm from the Pikmin community, so.
Thank you. We
awesome.
love Pikmin. Hey.
Also, as a former early childhood education teacher, thank you for all that you do.
Yeah,
It's
last year's was their favorite. They liked the bright purple and blue, so.
Excellent.
Yeah, come on up.
Hello. First of all, big fan. Been following Yetee for a while now.
Thank you.
A lot of shirts. You guys introduced the Yetee Cryptid Club, I think, last year or the year before. Do you guys have any?
that's been going on for a while.
Oh, that's it? Oh, man.
It used to be a secret thing, but
And now everybody
but
knows.
now
Thanks a
everyone
lot.
gets to yeah.
Well,
No,
thanks
you're good,
so
you're
much.
good, you're
That's
good.
awesome.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
Do you guys have any like major milestones for 2025 in terms of introducing anything new or any ideas?
I mean, I think the biggest milestone for this year in terms of like the company is going to be the 10th anniversary of our record label, which is going to be really cool. And yeah, the Yetee just continues to keep growing. And I think JC can speak to some of more of the larger brand goals for sure.
Yeah.
So I'm going to toss it over to him.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think we we're about looking at what, like 12 years of the Yetee at this point, maybe even more.
Oh, it's way longer than that.
And one of the cool things about it is that we're always constantly trying out new product types. We're always working with new artists and stuff, and it really changes up like what we can do and what we can make happen. There's stuff that I can't talk about right now, but we're always talking with like some really, really exciting new partners, both big and small. We have people on staff who are just like absolute total freaks for different types of things. Like me and Mark are obsessed with denim, so we're always kind of tossing back of just like, look at this, like we both buy big denim cowboy hats, or like we'll like find these like jackets and pants, just send it back and forth. It's like, look at these Final Fantasy denim pants you could just buy. This is wild. And sometimes we'll like find something. It's like, oh, what a crazy denim jacket. Unless, and then that kind of like materializes into something that we can sell. Because like I know one of the biggest things we started doing recently is we have knit sweaters. I think we actually just put out a knit sweater for Celeste, and that was one of those things that just kind of started with like, we figured out like a source for like, hey, we have someone we can get knit sweaters from. Maybe let's try reprinting some tee designs on sweaters to see how that looks. And like, it went well, people liked it, and then we say like, okay, let's try making something original for this, and let's push it even further. Where do we put stuff on the front and the back and the sleeves? And so like, there's just always just new products just coming our way, and we're always testing stuff out and getting samples in and just seeing what we can do. And sometimes they get really, really weird, and sometimes when they just get to happen, like, we're so excited, even if it's just for a one-off product.
Yeah, and as you've seen in the past couple years, we've really been building relationships with some larger partners. Indies have always been at the heart of the Yetee, and that's kind of where we've kind of started, especially as an indie company ourselves. So like we've seen like Yu-Gi-Oh and Mega Man and Street Fighter, and things can only go up from here, and we have a lot of surprises for everyone.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Hey, come over. I got a little something for you. Just bring this by the table and get yourself a tea.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
You're welcome. All right. Yes, come on up. Come on down. I've always wanted to say that.
I have lots of questions, so I'll try to ask one, maybe two right now.
Go for it. We'll take them.
So for the AGDQT, I know this will probably be directed at UK Duffels, but I don't know, anyone can answer. So when GDQ initially goes up to you and says, we want a t-shirt for our annual event, did they also give you a starting concept, or did they say, you know what, you can have at it, whatever design you want, and we'll take a look at it?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and I can actually answer this one. I feel good. It depends, is the easy answer. For AGDQ, SGDQ, typically it's all us. I don't know that we've ever had GDQ come up to us and say, we really want you to do something with this concept or that concept for AGDQ, SGDQ specifically. But as GDQ has grown and kind of evolved in these really wonderful ways, communities like Frame Fatales, who've been up to some very wacky and wonderful things, they do approach us and say, okay, here's going to be kind of our theme for this year's Frost Fatales, this year's Flame Fatales, and it's been much more collaborative in that sense, where they'll say, okay, for the last event, it was kind of an office theme, like office chaos. So they approached us and said, we're going to be doing skits and sketches with this, do with that as you will. And I was able to design a Frost Fatales or Flame Fatales collection based around that, and work together with them, which was super fun.
Okay, got it. I also want to follow up on that and say, have you ever worked with like the charity that GDQ works with? Like, have you talked to PCF about what they do and maybe incorporate some of their ideas and motifs into your tee design? I think it'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, we love the charities that we work with for these events, and if you're watching our table, you'll notice there's a lot of cross-pollination of us like going over there to talk to them, and they go over to talk to us and stuff. Just for the logistics of the events, just so far we haven't really been able to like arrange to get like specifically like, let's say, a PCFT going for like our collection. But obviously, like a significant portion of what we're raising is going to that charity, and we're always finding new ways to kind of like, I guess, like allow them to have some rep with what we're doing between like, sometimes they send us home with like extra merch that they have and we stuff it in a lot of the orders we're sending out to people. This year, they were kind enough to give us these like wonderful just like bags with their logo printed on it, and we've been using it to kind of like send people on the way with their tees, because usually people they freaking look like the Is This You in a commercial guy with all the stuff in their hands, but now we can give people their stuff in like a little bag, and they get to go home and they get to like have a little more extra rep of like PCF and whatnot. So like we're definitely interested in finding more ways to kind of like allow them to kind of like appear in our collection and in our table and all that stuff. But no matter what, we love working with those guys, and we're always supporting them, and they always do a good job of just letting us know like what an impact we are helping them to make, and that everyone here is helping to make. Because like, it's not just us, it's not just them, it is literally everybody here. And yeah, I don't know, there's just always so much to do.
I have one thing to add, which is that we actually do have one crossover thing with them this year, kind of, sort of. It's like not an official one, but it's something that just in the interest of, bringing more of that energy in. Like our sticker pack this year features their new mascot, Early Bird.
Oh, yes.
So when you pre-order the sticker pack, you'll get like a cool bird sticker that's different from the bird sticker that is the official one. And hopefully we'll get to do more stuff like that. The difficult thing is just, they're working really hard, doing really important things, and t-shirt making and everything in that realm takes so much back and forth and so much time. We just want to be very respectful that, we're not like banging down their door with emails saying, hey, we need your approval, we need feedback on this, that, and the other. So I do think we're working towards it, but it will take some time, some kind of figuring out.
Yeah, and to sort of speak to some of that, we do work with our partners outside of GDQ events as well. I don't know if you've seen on socials or anything within the past year or two, we've done teas specifically for MSF, and we've talked with the reps multiple times with PCF, and that should be coming down the pipeline to do more shirts with them outside of events as well, like we've done with MSF.
Very cool, thank you.
All right, cool. Hey, come get yourself a prize, Wizard. enjoy. All right, I think we probably have time for like another question or two. Does anybody else have anything they want to ask us? Any burning questions? Sure, come on up. I'll take repeat offenders. It's all right.
I'll take one more. Earlier, you mentioned that anyone could submit designs and things to the Yeti. Is there any like implications on like copyright if you're making like a shirt for like a specific game or something that you like? Is there anything you guys need like permission before you publish a shirt, or is it just the artist?
The big thing that we kind of look for is like, again, it's something that we got to be excited about, something that you got to be excited about. Ultimately, we always ask our artists to keep things as transformative as possible. We have specific relationships with some properties, and we kind of ask that like, hey, like if you're sending in like a Mega Man shirt, we already work with Mega Man, and we have specific artists that we work with on that stuff. So like, there's only so much we can maybe do with that. But like outside of that, I would say just like trust your own judgment and just like send in something that you're excited about, and we'll just let you know where it goes. Like if there's any real issues, we'll let you know. But we're always just kind of looking for something different, new, and that people are excited about. We try not to give too many restrictions outside of just kind of like content and tone, really. But as we tell people on social media, if you take a look at what the Yetee's printing for our daily shirts, you'll have a pretty good idea of like what we're generally looking for.
And also, always feel free to send in original stuff too. Not everything that we always post as dailies are video game related. We've definitely been broadening our scope as to what we would like to see out for dailies.
Yeah, if you see like a lot of the tees that K Duffels does, actually, they're just pure K Duffels. Just whatever horrible thought she woke up with in the morning and decided to put in a tee, we'll print it.
It's the not very ye or ha for me.
Awesome, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, last call. All right,
Yeah.
we'll make this last one. Here's the last one, and then we have to eat our lunches.
I like how I'm short enough where I don't have to bend over. Like, I had a thought earlier when you were talking about some of your shirts, and you can answer either one of these. Is there a shirt that you made or designed that's like, this is my favorite, and or is there one that you didn't expect to like really take off and then it just sold like crazy?
Okay, I think that's a good one to go out on. We can all go down the line, and like we might take a second to think about it, but I think we can toss one up for both of those as best as we can remember, right? So you're asking like our favorites that we personally designed?
Yeah, like I bought this shirt and I framed it, and then like, man, I made this shirt about Caterpie, and holy crap, it sold 1 million shirts.
All right. Most surprising, I made a shirt that said "Fish fear me and I fear them. How will we break the cycle? When will we learn to love?" And I thought that was just going to be a winner for me and my dad. But it turns out a lot of other people like that sentiment. That one like blew me away. I didn't expect anyone to like that, and a lot of people did. And my favorite shirt that I've designed, it changes constantly because I'm drawing so much. Right now, it's my I like bad games, and now I'm in gamer jail shirt because I like so many bad games. Shout out to everything I've ever played.
Let me think. So I've designed a few tees myself, and I think my personal favorite that I've personally designed is I made a shirt inspired by I'm blanking on names of games. I was just listening to this in my car. It was inspired by Muramasa the Demon Blade, a game that I do know. Does anybody here know that game? I see you nodding. You know that game, right? So I made a shirt inspired by one of the main characters, Momohime, and I think it was like a snow day. I was home from work. I was playing that game on my PSTV, and I was struck with inspiration, and I saw the design as clear in my mind's eye as I possibly could, and I went over to my computer and I drew it exactly as I pictured it, which I can only say of maybe like 1 or 2 tees I've ever designed, and I was so happy with how that came out. I don't even really think that one sold super well. Enough people bought it. Like there were definitely fans who saw it and they got what I was putting down. But yeah, I was so happy with that one, and that's one of my absolute favorites that I've ever done. And then as far as something that surprised me, honestly, when we did that Bad Shirt Fest, that was a real gamble. It was the first time we did it. We were like, will people even understand what the concept of this is? It's like so hard to explain, and like some did well, some did okay. And the one that I did see here was the best-selling one. There was one with the tiger. What did I say? It was like
Don't wanna.
Don't wanna. It was like a crudely drawn tiger with the text "Don't wanna." It was an artist first time design. It was crude. It totally fit the bill of like that shirt. And I was like, no one knows who this guy is. No one knows who this shirt is. It's just a tiger. Whatever. It's gonna be at the bottom of the list, right? It like outsold everything like tenfold. Like we woke up and it was like, there's how many orders of this tee? So like that one actually really did just like knock me on my back. I did not expect that one.
I don't get to sit around the T-shirts too much, but as far as stickers and posters go, my favorite poster is the Gandora poster we've done for Yu-Gi-Oh! It's very cool, very different. Our artist Makoto made it. I think it's amazing. As far as items that have sold, we have a sticker pack called Bad Luck So What sticker pack. We've had that sticker pack for almost 10 years, and it still sells out to this day, like every month. Yeah.
I don't design shirts or anything. I just sell records.
But you can do. I'm a huge VGM collector, so
Oh, okay.
it's like, what's your favorite record you guys got? That you sell?
My favorent record from our
And why is it
catalog.
Doom? No.
Yeah, my favorite record from the Yetee Records catalog has to be Synthetic Core 88 by Equip. That is one of the most special records in my collection and possibly one of my favorite records of all time. It is a soundtrack to a video game that does not exist, and it is totally vaporwave. And one of our artists that used to be a staff artist, and most of you probably know. I mean, I kind of say whenever I introduce people to my video game vinyl collection, I'm like, yeah, this is my Drew Wise art collection plus some music. So yeah, Drew did this fantastic design. It's a whole concept album, and it looks like an actual like video game box with like art on the back with like screenshots and everything. That is actually one of the first records that got me into following the Yetee and kind of led me down the path to landing me here at this panel.
Nice.
So yeah,
Cool.
check out that album.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. Thank you so much. And thank you, everybody, for all the wonderful, wonderful questions. I'm really happy you guys showed up. You guys some really great questions. Honestly, we're going to have to do this again sometime. Have to find some more stuff to talk about. But seriously, it's Yetee. We have so many things we could talk about. And again, just so great to see your smiling faces out there. The folks watching at home. I'm not pointing at anybody. I'm just kind of pointing out there in general. The folks watching at home. Thank you so much for like watching this VOD. Shout outs to the Yetee Discord. Anyone out there, if you draw and want to submit a tee, come to Yetee.com, submit, come up to the table during the event, just talk to us, we'll let you know like what that looks like, what you can do, how to get involved in the Discord, all that good stuff. We love seeing tees from everybody. Like if you've seen some of the stuff we've printed even in the last year, there are very few things we're not willing to print. You can trust me on this. And, I think we have like 4 bowls of lunch waiting for us, and we really got to get out there and, what's that? Oh, Yetee, I didn't know you were here the whole time. No, Yetee, I told you, the panel was at 2:30. At 2:30. He's always like this. He oversleeps. He eats too much. You know what? We're done here. Thanks, guys. Have a fun GDQ. We'll see you around. Stop by the Yetee table. Thank you to PCF. Thank you for GDQ for letting us put this on. Thanks to our wonderful tech crew. Thanks to Duffels. Thanks to Orion. And thanks to Jacob. You guys have all been wonderful. You all have been beautiful. Thanks to that screen for having the slideshow. You're a beautiful screen. I love you. Mwah. I hope to work with you again. Thanks, everybody. If you guys have anything else to say?
Nah, we're good.
No, yeah.
All right. I think that sums it up well. Nah, we're good. See you guys later.